Welcome back to another video of Smith's Fishing Outdoors. I'm Fisher Smith. This is my dad, Jason Smith. And today we're doing a table talk on our top 5. Actually, I probably shouldn't say top 5. But top 5, like, kind of categories of ice fishing baits that we like to use. So we got jigs, and let's just get into it.
What we like best, we like our horizontals.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like 3 categories on jigs that we narrow them down to. You got your horizontals, you got what we call like 45 jigs.
Yep.
And then you got your verticals. And we're big fans of the horizontals and the 45s. And
yeah. Definitely top favorites.
That's kind of our favorite. And the against drop jig, which is one of our favorites overall.
You guys that right there.
You can do so much with against drop jig, and
you could throw away plastic on there.
Yep.
Mackie plastics.
Wedgie plastics.
Throw silky on there.
Silkies, like that.
Yep.
Silkies are really good. We've been doing so well with them. There's so many options with that, and it's got a nice profile. It dances really nice. I can't say nothing better. Wonder Bread is one of our favorite colors.
Gotta have Wonder
Bread.
Bread.
Have Wonder Bread. Then I would, another jig that we've used a lot, and we stick to number 12s. And number
1/32 ounce.
That's a 1/32 ounce jig, and so VMC makes what they call a tungsten tubby, and it comes in a short shank, and it comes in a long shank.
Here's that. Here's that short shank right there, and then don't drop it here. Here's that long shank. There.
So
both these have different occasions for when you want to use them. If I'm gonna use a long shank, I'm most likely gonna put a silky on it and a little plastic, like we have set up right here, or maybe just single the plastic and
yeah, just a single wedgie plastic like this. We use these little, buy them by Little Adam, just little wedgie plastics. They dance really nice. Been our favorite.
They work.
You can pretty much live on red and white.
Yeah.
That's our favorite. That's a hint, secret. Live on white and red.
You notice how all the Mackie plastics we have
Yep.
We definitely
Seems
like
to
that.
work good in our area. Maybe it's
Watercolor.
watercolor.
Doesn't.
That-
Really depends on the watercolor.
But this is a tungsten jig. The hooks are super good from VMC.
Oh yeah.
The hooks are good also from Clam on the against drop jig. But
45s.
they're still around here, and you can
In other areas too, obviously.
in other areas too.
But there's bait shops that make baits, jigs.
We see
that,
little things.
You don't get buying them online. You have to go to a little bait store to pick them up.
But here's a couple of examples of some odd. They are horizontal jigs, like that.
Yep.
And they're a little bit smaller than a 12, but we really keep these for when things get finicky. We start pulling out these little horizontal jigs.
And the rod that I'd most likely use one of these lighter jigs for would be the straight drop combo, the straight drop reel.
And that's a 27-inch ultralight.
Yep, ultralight, but
it's got a nice bend to it, good backbone.
Yep.
But with the nitrile spring bobber on the front.
I know you caught a couple weeks ago. You caught a 32-inch pike on this rod.
Yeah, it's still got plenty of backbone to do whatever you want. You caught a 6-pound brown trout on a Katana.
Katana, yeah.
Yep. So
we'll get into that rod a little bit later, but
one of our other favorites is when you got to go to what I call 45 jigs, and you can show them that VMC hair jig, their fly jig, is what I call a 45 jig. It just sits at that angle, And a lot of times with those bluegills feeding up, they'll just come and they'll just put their mouth on it.
A lot of times when you bounce that jig off the bottom, bugs come up, and usually they see little bugs like that jig right there.
Yep.
The bluegills just come up and smash it.
So it's a nice jig. Again, size 12, 1/32.
Occasionally we might go to a little bit bigger size, but we usually tend to stay.
And
around
what do
that
you usually
1/32.
tip the hair jigs with?
Little spike.
Yeah, a couple of spikes.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we usually
Little
like
spike.
2. And of course, you hook them right on the end of the spikes. But those work really good. This is the swirl drop jig. Again, it's another one that kind of really
By Clam.
sits off on a 45-degree angle, and that's a real trick. There's times where one angle works better. There's even times when a vertical jig
Oh yeah.
can work really good too.
A lot of times. Definitely, as you can see, this is rod that I'd like to use because I have that jig on there right there. This is the 27 Katana. This is the ultralight, correct?
Yep.
So ultralight with a Katana reel.
Super light. Really
Caught
balanced.
a 6-pound brown trout on this one. It's a great rod. It's very versatile. Moving into some of more aggressive, like when we were talking about the 45 jigs and the smaller jigs, those are more finicky bluegills, finicky crappies.
And you'll get that, especially
Yeah.
January, February. You really
Yeah, when you're dealing with 2 feet of ice and 20-some feet of water, them fish tend to get pretty.
The stuff that works in December does not always work in January.
Oh yeah,
February.
A lot of times in January, February, you got to find that perfect line of that mud line, and you got to find exactly right where it cuts.
And what they're in the mood for. That day.
What they're in the mood for.
Exactly.
Usually we'll have
bring a box. I mean, Clam makes a big box.
small box too.
We bring a wide assortment. Some old school baits even. I got Pierce and a few other things in here. But good to have a good assortment. Change things up. Yep.
A plastics case.
Got plastics case. So many different types of plastics, so many different colors.
Mackie plastics, everything you need.
To have this at my disposal is really, really nice. So
keep that in the sled.
In the sled,
the buckets.
So when they get aggressive, and you're really, maybe it's towards evening or whatever, they get really aggressive.
If you're chasing high school and crappies,
we use a Scepter light. We go to a little, not an ultralight, just a light version
Scepter
of the
carbon light.
Scepter carbon, and
27, and this is a 30 right here.
And we're running the Pinhead Pro and the Pinhead Jointed Pro. Show those two right there.
New on the lineup this year. Same as the old pinheads, just made out of a different material. Again, 1/32 ounce.
Yep, I believe they got zinc in them now.
Yeah, there's zinc, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. But super durable, great finishes on them, tougher.
Yep.
Super sharp hooks. Tikka minnow.
I just tacked my
Tikka
finger
minnow is
right.
another one for aggressive crappies. Again, staying in the really small size.
Got 1/32 ounce. Seems like we tend to go with the 1/32 ounce.
Not on the pinheads though. Those are
Yeah.
1/32, but yeah. So that's kind of our go-to. I mean, we bounce off this pattern all the time, and it's been really successful. I mean, so far this year we've had a great ice fishing season.
Usually, I think the past couple of years we've gotten 10-inch bluegills, so it's been pretty successful.
Yeah. I mean, we don't get many 10s. I mean, we fish a really
it's still fishing. You got to work for the big bluegills.
Yep.
I know in Minnesota there's a lot more big bluegills, but Wisconsin they tend to get wider.
We fish pressured lakes, really high pressured lakes.
That too.
So when you do that, you got to get funky on what baits you're using, adding certain plastics, putting a silky in there. If you haven't tried a silky, definitely try a silky. And you can do that horizontal, and you can do that vertical off your jig, or cutting it back. So
you could trim those any way you
want. Trim them. Just that silk just adds a flare, and
you could leave that jig there, and that silky would still just sit there and move.
Exactly. So that's kind of our deal.
It's our game plan. Usually when we start on the ice, we got more tips in that box, but this is our starting lineup for what we like to do when we first get out on the ice and we move into the end of the season. So, hope you guys liked the video. Please hit the like, subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next adventure.